There is a wrong way to water. Lee here, and I'm going to give you 3 do's and don'ts for how to water your plants. If you're new to houseplants, you should know that the #1 killer for houseplants is overwatering your plants. Here's 3 things you should do when you're watering your plants. Water, wait, and water. To make sure you water your plant fully, you want to wait until the soil can't hold any more water. Water your plant. Some may come out of the bottom, wait, and water again. Larger plants will take much longer to water fully, so be patient. Make sure you ditch any water that is sitting in your tray. The next tip is to be consistent for your season. Is it the middle of summer and you notice that your leaves are starting to droop every 4 days? What about in the winter and that snake plant that's sitting in the dark corner of your room that you water once every 2 months? Is it perfectly happy there? Take time to get to know your plants. Be consistent depending on your season. The last thing you should do when you're learning how to water your plants is to research your plant type. Go into Google, type in your plant name, followed by how wet should the soil be. Here's an example. There are 2 main things that you should be looking for. #1, does it say that your plant likes to dry out between waterings, or does it say that it likes to stay evenly moist? If it's something like a pothos that does like to dry out between waterings, you can stick your finger in the soil up to the first 2 inches. If it's dry, it's probably time to water your plant. If your plant likes to stay evenly moist, like a calathea, you'll have to water it more frequently. If the top 1 to 2 inches is dry, it could be time to water. Here are some don'ts. Don't water your plant in a pot that does not have drainage. If you're in a rush and somehow you forget to dump out the excess water, this is going to be the fastest way to kill your plant. It's good practice to always remove your plants from a decorative pot before you start to water them. Don't treat your plants the same all year round. This mirrors my second tip of things to do. In the spring and summer, your plants will need much more water. Plants that are closer to your windows will need much more water. If it's the dead of winter, your plants will need much less water, much less frequently. My last tip is don't use water straight from the tap. I know, but hear me out. Some of the best low light plants for beginners are dracaenas like the dragon tree or the corn plant. These plants are really sensitive to some of the chemicals that are in tap water and can make their leaves have brown and crispy edges. So what I would recommend is using filtered water, or keep a jug of water around. Let it sit out for a day with the cap off so some of those chemicals can evaporate. This also has the added benefit of bringing the temperature up to room temperature, which is helpful for your plant because really hot water or really cold water can also damage the roots. But if you've been watering your plants with tap water and it's been perfectly fine, you should continue doing that. Like the video if this has been helpful to you, and if you want to go chasing waterfalls, go right ahead. I'm not your supervisor.